I made the decision to forgive and forgive and forgive again. He would repent, we'd be in church, we would feel like there was restoration. Unless you keep the guards up, you've got to be very proactive. We were married 23 years when I discovered my ex-husband was actually in an affair. And when I discovered that in 2013, I made the hardest decision of my life.
Well, if you're enjoying Table Talk, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and remember to click that notification bell to stay up to date on all of our latest posts.
Content warning. This segment includes discussions of sensitive topics like abuse and adult material. Viewer discretion advised.
Hello, everyone. Well, you know, when your life completely falls apart, is it really possible to be whole again? Well, today's guest walked through abuse, trauma, and a near-death experience, and they're here to share their miraculous story of redemption from her book, Healing from Life's Deepest Hurts. Wow, this is a good show. Going to be a good testimony. But before we get to that, joining me on the table is April Simons. Did I catch you? Are you on the edge of your seat ready to hear this?
You know, just when I think we've heard all the stories,
True.
you bring one that we haven't heard, but it's such a God ending that is so great. It's so going to encourage people today.
Totally, totally. When I was reading their story, Cindy, I got to the one part, I'm just like, what? This could be like a movie almost. It's horrific.
No doubt,
Yeah.
no doubt. I was reading it as well, and I kept going, what? It's amazing what God can bring you through.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
When you think there's no way.
Rachel Lamb Brown, everybody's going, what?
Literally,
So keep them on the edge of their seat.
You know the phrase, I would take a bullet for you? Well, this story takes that to a whole new level.
All right, Rachel's giving a little clue.
I do it all over again.
She's giving a little clue. Kendra Kelly Dean, you ready?
I am ready. It is an amazing story. I was just like watching, reading the notes going, oh my word.
I know.
The whole time. But God is amazing.
Yeah, you got to that one part and you're like, what? Okay.
It's so good. It's
And
great.
Kimberly
Great testimony.
and Andrew Haar, welcome to the table.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you all for being here. It's going to be great. Well, Kimberly and Andrew Haar have a powerful story of God's redemption. Kimberly endured betrayal, divorce, and domestic violence, but the Lord rewrote her story, and together they're here to share how God can take brokenness and turn it into beauty. Now we've got all of you waiting to hear what happened. Trust me, you want to sit down and hear the rest of the story. But Kimberly, it starts with you growing up in a Christian home.
It does.
Loved God.
I gave my heart to Jesus at the age of 5, and I never walked away.
Yeah, you were younger than me. I was 6, but okay, I was a little slow.
You're a little more of a sinner than me.
It took God a little bit longer to get me, but he knew he needed to get me early, that's for sure. But raised in a Christian home at 22, get married a Christian man.
That's right. Married a Christian man, went to church, was on the praise and worship team, volunteered in the nursery, tithed. I mean, we did it all.
Yeah, you were just a consummate good
That's right.
faithful churchgoer. You love those kind of
Oh, yeah,
people in the
absolutely.
church.
We appreciate steady people.
Okay,
Yes.
so you get married. Tell us what happened.
I got married, and it was probably about 4 to 5 years into our marriage. We'd already had our first child, and I discovered that my ex-husband was involved with pornography. There was chat rooms, just kind of sexual addiction things. But as the years progressed, I would forgive him, and he would, repent. We'd be in church. We would feel like there was restoration, but it would slip back in.
So he would say he was sorry, but sometimes with these kind of addictions, you need...
You do. You really need professional help.
Well, and you need to shine the light on it.
Yep.
And you need accountability.
Absolutely.
I know from being married to a psychologist, and he deals with this kind of stuff and has for years, that you've got to have accountability. And so there really was no accountability other than him saying, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to go to church and repent.
Well, he actually went to some counseling, but, sex addiction is one of those things, unless you keep the guards up, you've got to be very proactive and not get lackadaisical and lazy. And it's not like a once and done. But because we had children, we had 4 children, and I did not want to divorce and our kids go between homes.
Yeah.
So I made the decision to forgive and forgive and forgive again, but but I didn't have good boundaries. I didn't get the message about God doesn't want us in relationships where there's continual betrayal. So we were married 23 years when I discovered my ex-husband was actually in an affair. And when I discovered that in 2013, I made the hardest decision of my life, and I filed for divorce. And I just decided to be a single mom for 4 years, get our youngest children, who were 15, got them to college so that they didn't have to worry about me giving my attention to anybody else. I knew at that point that I was done.
And so you were going to then go back to school while this was going on?
No, I went back to school when our youngest children were in kindergarten, and I became a therapist because I went to marriage counseling that I didn't feel like was very hopeful.
Right.
And so I decided I was going to go back to school and learn how to give people hope that were in similar situations.
Right.
And so when my youngest children were like in kindergarten, I was opening the book, studying at night, soccer practice, I'm reading, all my school books, and I became a therapist when I was 40 years old.
Wow.
So, and I'm 59 now, so I'm kind of giving that away, but I've been doing it about 2 decades.
That's awesome. Okay, so you went through a divorce, and you guys are like, there hasn't been any type of domestic violence
No,
before.
no.
And you're kind of trying to raise the children, but you're single.
Right.
And so
It was a friendly divorce.
it was a friendly divorce. So you're single for how many years?
4 years.
When you all of a sudden she feels her heart starting to open up a little bit, like
Yes.
maybe,
Yeah.
Lord,
Yep.
do you
This
have
was the-
someone?
yeah.
And the Lord said to you,
He said, this is the year you're going to be married again. And I could swear I heard the words, buckle your seatbelt.
Yeah.
I just thought that meant it's going to go fast. But I was 50 years old, and where does a 50-year-old woman go to meet people? Because I wasn't a bar scene person. I had gone to our singles group at church, and that was kind of pathetic. There just wasn't that many people there. And so I decided that I was going to join a dating site, online dating. And
we have to be careful with that.
oh, yes,
So,
yes.
okay.
And I had 13 first dates that I decided this was not for me.
Tell me about one of the bad ones
Yes.
before you get to number
Oh, my
14.
goodness. I think the worst was when I had somebody that when they found out I was a therapist, they became therapy sessions. I had a man that told me, he said, yeah, my therapist tells me I'm really attracted to controlling women. And I'm thinking, and you're telling me this, why? So it was interesting, but I was ready to hang it up. And then I
You
saw...
kind of did your little 50 questions.
Oh, yes.
And you knew right away, like if it was 13, down, down, down.
Oh, yeah,
down.
yeah.
And you get to number 14, which
I
is
got
Andrew.
to number 14. We went out on April Fool's Day. And
That's interesting
he
as
was
well.
a big spender. He took me to a diner for breakfast. And so we went and we had an amazing first date. We just connected. 1 hour led to 2, probably 3. And I think it was I hadn't even made it out of the parking lot. And he was asking me to meet him the next day for dinner
Okay, so
again.
Andrew, we want to hear your side of the truth of the story.
That's pretty accurate, except at the diner, the tables are kind of close together, and we were just coffeeing and drank and eating, and we had people around us, and people were giving us kind of looks because we'd run through the gamut of religion, school, children,
Politics.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just...
How many questions did she ask you that day?
It was 50 questions for sure. And of course, to some elderlies sitting around us were looking at us like,
What did you think? What did you think when she walked in? Because so many times on the dating sites, they tell me that they don't actually look like the picture.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So what did you think when she walked in?
And remember, you're going home with me.
I'm an engineer type, so I don't have a lot of highs or low emotions.
Yeah.
And nice lady. And she was my first. So
Well, what was it about her that stood out to you?
I think, the online profiles, for one. Lakes, I like water, mountains. Tracy from Canada, she was a Canadian citizen. And I just thought we had a lot of unique things in common.
And you liked your personality, I'm sure.
She's very
Outgoing.
personable.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Okay. We can't pull as much out of Andrew as we can Kimberly. We're going to keep working on that. Okay.
She was pretty.
That's where
engineer.
We were waiting on that to say she was so cute. Okay. All right, so...
But at that point, you're really not, what's on the inside.
Yeah.
It's so much less than what's on the outside. Sure. So.
Yeah, but you got to have the outside, too.
I know, he's digging a hole. On our second date, I do have to say, he told me, we went out for dinner and he said, I'm wearing my skinny jeans, but I can't breathe.
That's so funny.
That is hilarious. Okay, so y'all started dating, and you pretty much fell for him, and he fell for you, and all your friends are like, you look really happy.
We
Like
did.
you're glowing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We dated for 4 weeks, and he told me, I want to marry you. But it wasn't a question, so I wasn't going to embarrass myself and say yes. So I just smiled, but we knew we were on our way to get married.
Okay, so take us to that night.
Yeah. 4 weeks later, my ex-husband asked me to come to his apartment and talk to her about our adult children. That was not uncommon, so I went there, and he
Felt totally safe.
Felt totally safe. He started talking about wanting to date again, and for me to give him another chance. And I said, I've moved on. I said, and you need to move on too. And so he looked at me and he said, well, maybe I'm gonna have to go talk to this guy. And I didn't realize at that time my ex-husband had been stalking me. And so...
So he knew where Andrew lived.
He knew where Andrew lived.
He knew you had been seeing someone.
He did.
And he did not like it.
Right.
Okay.
So I called Andrew and I said, hey, can I stop by your house on my way home? And because I didn't want my ex-husband to scare him off. And so I went to his house and I said, Andrew, I'm so sorry. My ex-husband may spread a rumor. He may harass you. I am so sorry. And I said, but Andrew, would you fight for me? And he looked down at me and he said, of course I would. And when I asked him...
Not having a clue what that meant.
He had no idea what was coming, folks. He had no idea.
And so when I asked him why, he said, because you're worth it. But within 24 hours, I went home and something again stirred inside me and said, lock your bedroom door. Wow. And I had locked my house many times because I was empty nesting, living alone. But that night, I locked my bedroom door. And at 2:30 in the morning, I woke up to my bedroom door crashing down off the hinges. My ex-husband was intoxicated. He had a gun in his hand. And for the next 4 hours, I was assaulted.
Oh. And he actually began to beat you in your face, your body, assaulted you.
Yep.
4 hours, and he was inebriated.
That's right.
What was he saying?
When he first came in, the very first thing he told me was that he had come from killing my parents. Now, he had not, but he knew I was very close to my parents. And so in that moment, I just believe God gave me a gift of calm. Because I told myself, you know what, you can grieve it later. There's nothing you can do right now, so put it on the shelf. And I told myself, just pay attention to every one of his words.
You needed to be calm because it could have escalated.
That's right.
And did he put the gun?
I had a gun in my mouth up to my neck. I mean, there was holes in my bedroom wall. I mean, he shot my wall to let me know he was serious.
Oh, my
goodness. After the assault, he told me that as punishment for ruining his life, he was going to kidnap me, and he was going to drive me to Andrew's house, and he was going to make me watch him murder Andrew. And so we got in the vehicle. I, under my breath, was, praying for Andrew.
So he had a gun on you and said, get in the vehicle.
So I got in the vehicle, and we got to Andrew's house. My ex-husband reached in the back seat for a gun and the bullets, and
Another gun.
Yeah, and then he looked at me and he said, now you go do whatever you need to do. And he left the keys in the ignition. So I jumped into the driver's seat, heard 3 gunshots, so I knew Andrew would not survive. And I made an escape to a super center where 911 was called.
And of course, you look horrific, right? At this point, I bet everybody's thinking, what happened to you, right? Because your face.
I think they just wanted me to get in the warehouse where other people couldn't see me, scare people. And because, I was unrecognizable.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, Andrew, let's pick it up. Did he knock on the door? Why did you come to the door? It's like 6:30 in the morning.
It was a knocking on the door, and I had this translucent stained glass, a pretty big oval, maybe 3 foot.
So you have like a wood door, but you have a glass in the middle. Okay.
And I couldn't see him, or he couldn't see me, other than maybe shadows. And then just bullets just started coming through.
So you didn't even open the door.
Didn't even open the door.
He just started shooting through the door.
I probably said something like, coming, hold on, and somebody's...
And so how many times did he shoot you?
I was struck 10 times. with 45 caliber hollow point bullets.
And so where did where did those bullets land?
Twice in the leg, once in the femoral artery.
And that would be where you would lose a lot of blood and
Lost a lot
could
of
die.
blood.
Where else were you shot?
Twice in the back, and then 6 times throughout my arm.
Goodness.
My goodness, and the fact that nothing was, that's a miracle in and of itself, isn't it? Of course, you went to the ground. The door never opened. He left and went running down the street, I guess.
I had, in my fight, flight, freeze, I was going for help and made it all of 1.5 blocks. I circled several times looking for help, but you know, I was just so scared myself.
At 6 in the morning.
And you're trying to stop at the first place, like somebody help me, 911.
So I pulled up to the very front, ran in, screamed, call 911, but nobody was moving as quick as I wanted them to. And so I looked down in my hand, and there was a cell phone in my hand that I must have gotten from my ex-husband's vehicle. And so I called 911, and I told him, get the police to his house. I don't think I knew the address. So I just said, get him to the house, but tell the police to be careful because this isn't gonna end good. And then I was escorted into a warehouse to wait for an ambulance to come and get me.
At this point, did you think he had passed away?
Yes. I had no clue if he was alive, if he was dead. And I would not find that out until I was taken to a hospital and I was in the emergency room. And I had met one of Andrew's adult children one time. And so he called my cell phone, who my adult daughter answered. And his son said, my dad's in and out of surgery. We don't know. It's touch and go. But that's where I found out he'd been shot 10 times.
Oh, my God.
And he said, but we just think our parents need to go their separate ways. And my heart sank. It was...
So the son's basically saying, don't come.
Don't call us. From here on, we're going to do our healing journey separately.
Our adult children are just trying to manage us. Which is understandable.
And protect us.
Right. I was going to ask you, Andrew, how close did you come to dying that day?
I wish I knew. I was probably in and out of consciousness, and they said I lost 50% of my blood, which is almost fatal, should be, and just miraculous.
So obviously the ambulance and the people that got you there, they probably saved your life.
Absolutely.
On the way to the hospital. How many surgeries did you have?
At least 13 surgeries.
Oh, wow. Okay, let's go back to the scene. Where's your husband? Where are you?
My ex-husband he was arrested, but as I was being taken out of the super center, I told the police officer, I said, I need to go to that vehicle and get my cell phone because I wanted to call my family. I didn't want them to see it on the news. And when I opened the passenger door of the vehicle, my ex-husband was sitting behind the steering wheel, and he was holding a gun up and pointing it towards me. So I screamed and dropped to the ground. A human shield of police officers came around me. And, you know, I was ushered back to safety while they apprehended him, and then we were taken.
So they told him, put the gun down, get out.
Honestly, I didn't hear what they said. They were just ushering me to safety.
Okay, so he was arrested.
He was arrested.
Taken into custody. And so this whole thing is unfolding. You're in the hospital. What are they saying about your condition?
You know, I was having the typical x-rays, making sure there was no broken bones in my face and skull. But all I could focus on was that I had lost Andrew. And I was more upset about him than I was anything that happened to me that morning. And so when I left the hospital, I went and stayed at my parents' home just for a couple nights. And I had an aunt and uncle who gifted me their home for the summer. And when they were giving me a tour of their home, I looked outside and there was this beautiful big pergola with big rafters and swings and a big cement floor, and something just told me this is where my healing was going to begin. And so
You're a therapist. It's not like you know that kind of trauma.
Right. I had walked many people through trauma in 20 years, but this time it was me. And so Andrew and I would not hear from each other for about 5 to 6 weeks because he was in and out of surgeries. He was living with his son. And I had contact with one person, and that was Andrew's work assistant. And she was kind of like my mole. And so she told me, she said that when Andrew had first woken up, he wanted to be with me. But by the end of the first few days, he agreed we needed to go our separate ways. And so I was in a state of shock and my own healing. And so I just laid down on that cement floor and I just wept. And I told the Lord, I said, I don't have words to even pray. And I said, would you just sing over me and breathe life back into my body? Because I felt like such an empty shell. And I would play praise and worship music, and that became my prayer. And in the beginning, I tried to take control and tell God what he should do, how he should do it, when he should do it. And then I said, and then I said, and Lord, I trust you.
And by the way, can you do this, and this?
Yes. And I came to the point where I told the Lord, I don't want to trust you. I'm scared to trust you. Because what if you don't give me what I want? And I even said, if Andrew is second best, I'll take it. I don't care about the best. I'll settle for Andrew. And
you had been through so much with your ex-husband.
Yeah.
And you saw so many qualities of steadiness.
I finally felt loved and cherished, and so it was really laying that down and surrendering to the Lord, saying, okay, God, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to probably complain and cry a bit, but
I'm
going to choose to trust you.
Thank you. That's where you have to get to that point. You understand that?
Right.
You know, you try to tell God everything you do. You're in the middle of all this mess, but at the end of the day, you got to say, okay, God, I may not understand everything, but I'm going to trust you and let him walk you through it.
Yeah.
And quit telling God what to do, because he's got a much better plan than you do. Okay, at some point, you kind of change your mind, Andrew, and you want to talk to her, but you don't have her phone number. and your kids are like, no, Dad, you're not doing this.
Well, thank God for Facebook Messenger.
Exactly.
I didn't have a number. That was a plug. I didn't mean to, but I was able to reach her in that fashion.
And so what did you say?
2 words.
You sent a message and you said,
I'm alive.
Oh.
Okay, how do you respond to that?
So how did you respond to it?
Yippee. I said, yippee. And then I went on to say, I'm so sorry. I want you to know I didn't have anything to do with this. And you know, tried to like plead. And he said he was going in for a surgery because I asked if I could go see him. And he said, no, I need to go do this. I'll contact you later. But he ended his message with the words, take care. And I thought, what does that mean? You know, does that mean I wish you well?
That's such an engineer thing. What is going on here?
Well, I couldn't walk. I couldn't feed myself. I mean, I was
You were
in bad shape for at least 2 weeks.
So the therapist and me, I sent him all these pictures of us, and I'm like, you know, trying to like stir some spark there.
Okay, and so you go through the surgery, and you have to wait, and then you make contact. What do you say the next time, Andrew?
That's where...
A visit would be nice.
Oh, yeah.
A visit would be nice.
Perfect.
You did.
But you have to come when the children are here.
Kids.
Yeah, he told me, he said, come, but when my kids aren't here. And so he's like, my son's gonna be at the phone store, so come from this time to this time. So I'm 50 years old, sneaking in at the hospital.
Where there's love, there's a way.
That's right. Hey, when you're determined.
I can relate to all this. This is so
Well, and I was
funny.
still
Okay.
a John Doe because it was a crime.
Yeah, so
thing.
you
And
didn't have
so
your name listed. Okay, so you go
I
to the
was
hospital.
unlisted.
And you go in the room. What do you think when you saw
I
him?
opened the door, and he was all bandaged up, looking pretty rough. And I looked at him, and I said, Andrew, where does this leave us? And he said, I don't know. He said, I saw the felony counts. He goes, I know what happened to you. He goes, and you're going to be messed up. And then he said, I know what happened to me, and I'm really going to be messed up. And I just couldn't bear the thought of him going any further. And so I looked at him, and I shook my finger in his face. And I said, Andrew Haar, you will never meet another woman like me. And
Tell him.
He smiled. He smiled. I don't think I even ever left that hospital room. I was like getting up in his hospital bed with him, and the doctors and nurses were coming all smiling. And 4 weeks later, we were engaged. And 4 months later, we were married. And it's been 8 years.
Oh, wow. And so, Andrew, one of the important points, I think, with you is that you almost died. And that was a stark reality for you. And you were like a baby Christian. But this moved you in closer to the Lord. And can God do that, like for people who've gone through that kind of trauma?
I think he can do it to anybody if you just lean in.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, it was more of a Damascus Road kind of moment where my whole attitude changed. Life was better. You know, I was kinder, I was gentler, I was more loving, more patient.
Did you see the difference in him after?
I did see. He definitely pulled in closer to the Lord. And then as we continued to date, he came to church with me because he loved the Lord. It was just an immature Christian. But he loved me and was the hands and feet of Jesus that I had never experienced before.
I want to know what the son said when she was in the hospital bed with you and he came back from the phone store.
Wait, he caught you?
He did come in there, but by this time we were just smiling and grinning from ear to ear. And yeah, I think they just saw that their dad was happy.
And you hadn't met them.
I had met him one time.
Okay, so
But I had not met the other two.
the rest of the kids. So when they met you,
It's a little awkward.
yeah.
It was they all came in and I was sitting there but I think that they realized that it wasn't me.
We're
And
adults.
yeah, he just told them. I mean, two of them are engineers, so they all kind of think alike.
Yeah.
And
And what about your kids?
my kids loved Andrew. My kids, in fact, all of our kids get along. All of our kids.
The youngest daughter, I think you did the daddy-daughter dance.
He did. You know,
At the wedding.
It's my youngest daughter came and lived with us for a bit during COVID, and she got married afterwards. And when it came time for the father-daughter dance, she came and got Andrew. And it was just a very beautiful healing moment. Andrew, they look at Andrew not as a stepdad, but as their mom's husband, because they're older, they're adults. But they all genuinely love him.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. And, you know, your book, Healing from Life's Deepest Hurts, what would you say was the key to both of you being healed? Because I know he said initially, you're going to be messed up, I'm going to be messed up. I've been shot 10 times, you've been beaten up, like, this is crazy.
You know, I think, well, right away, of course, I tried to take control, and I told his son, okay, this is where he needs to go to therapy. This is the kind of therapy. And Andrew, most of his healing was absolutely much more of the physical, but it happened so quickly, and there was no relationship, that it was different than the healing that I had to walk through.
Yeah.
And so we did much of our healing separately, and what helped us was that while I was processing and as I was healing, he would hold me. You know, it was like he would be there. He was just he really was the hands and feet of Jesus.
That's awesome. So you need to get the book. You go and you tell the whole story.
I do.
And you tell also some of the keys for healing.
Yep, there's therapeutic tools anybody can start with in their own journeys.
Okay, all right. Well, gosh, guys, thank you for being here. It's so good.
Fascinating.
Thank you for having us.
Story. They're here, they're alive, they're happy, 8 years married.
Absolutely.
Well, we are out of time, but I want you to remember, if you feel like the pain is too deep or the betrayal too great, you know, you hear their story, you understand that God is your healer, and you are not what happened to you.
That's right.
You are who God says you are. You're loved, you're chosen, and you're never alone. And so if you're watching today and you do feel alone and you don't know the Lord, the most important thing you can do is ask Jesus to come into your heart and just say, "Dear Jesus, forgive me. Come into my heart today. You know, I believe you died on the cross for me, and I want to receive you and be Lord in my life." And I tell you what, that is the most important prayer you can pray. We have prayer partners standing by. They'd love to pray with you. I would love to send you the book of John. It's the Gospel of John. It's a great place to start in the Word of God. I'll send that to you absolutely free. And that's because we love you. We're excited about the journey you're about to embark on. And I'm just telling you, if you pray that prayer with an open heart and sincerely, Jesus will meet you right where you are. And you hear their story. I mean, if God can bring them through that, He can bring you through anything you've gone through. Well, I want to thank Kimberly and Andrew for joining us. To get a copy of her book, find out more about her ministry, visit KimberlyHaar.com. And as always, make sure to follow us on all social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel for full episodes, exclusive content, and let us know how Table Talk is touching your life. We love hearing from you. Of course, you can also listen to the Joni Table Talk podcast, available now on all the major platforms. But I want to thank you for watching. Those of you that prayed that prayer, welcome to the family of God. You are not alone. We love you. Again, thank you guys so much for sharing. What a great story, y'all.
Unbelievable.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for today. Well, you know, there's always more to the story. If today's conversation stirred something in your heart, don't let it end here. Click on the next video to keep growing in faith and truth. And if you haven't yet subscribed, turn on the bell so you never miss a moment. Let's keep pressing in together.